Hello. This week on Click, we'll deluge you with data and show you what you can do with it as we examine the information behind your pictures. How about this review? We'll plug into the tech that's lighting up San Francisco. Filming the action from all the angles. We'll look at what happens if you stick your best bits to everyone else's. All that plus the latest tech news and a trip to the other side as we show you how to channel the social afterlife in Webscape. Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly. Smile. Oh, looking good, gorgeous, as ever. Now, it wasn't just you that my camera captured just then. Along with millions of pixels, digital photographs contain a ton of other information. Your location, shutter speed, flash settings. The list is amazingly long. And for years, all this extra information was largely ignored by everyone except the pros. But these days, apps and software used by we mere mortals are making more and more of this metadata. So it could be time to start giving it a little respect, as Ian Hardy explains in New York.
Turn over your photos from decades long gone, and you might find scribblings on the back. Who, what, when, where. That was your grandfather's version of metadata. But today's digital photo file not only collects all the technical information from the camera, but allows shooters to add many personal details as well. Metadata software used to be a pros-only world, but the giants, Lightroom and Aperture, have both dropped their prices dramatically. And very cheap apps like Lin have emerged, offering the ability for anyone to add captions, keywords, ratings, and other metadata quickly and efficiently. But photographers in the 21st century, like Alan Shapiro, face another problem. They need to ensure that the metadata, which can include important copyright information, sticks to the photograph wherever it goes online. Traditionally, that has been tricky.
Metadata is important to everyone, whether you're a professional or an amateur. Anyone who wants to share their photographs, be it with family. I mean, I've had family come for family reunions, and then some of them want photos. I just send them to my SmugMug site, and I don't sell to them. I could, but I don't because I like them. And they can download there, and then all of the data that I have added to my photo travels with it.
SmugMug has become popular with photographers because it was one of the first to acknowledge the importance of metadata and leave it intact throughout the import, storage, export and distribution process. Some websites strip it without warning to save bandwidth costs. But creating metadata with photographs can be a tedious and time-consuming project. Photosmith 3 is a tablet app that syncs with Lightroom and allows for cataloging on the go. The first two versions, released by part-time developers who started it as a hobby, got mixed reviews, primarily because of Apple's iOS restrictions. But this version, it's claimed, will finally unchain photographers from their desktops and laptops forever.
Yeah, it absolutely puts metadata into the hands of the amateur for the first time in the mobile space. Certainly there's Aperture and there's Lightroom on the desktop and the laptop space, but in terms of mobile tagging, iPhoto just isn't there on the iPad. Yes, you can edit the exposure, but you really can't edit the metadata in any meaningful way.
The most logical moment to add metadata is, of course, when the camera is clicked, or in the few seconds after that. Devices can already add GPS coordinates and even identify people within the frame. And the next batch of cameras with larger processors might be able to take dictation on the spot, turn it into text, and add it to the file. Photographic metadata has become very important for a whole new genre of apps. Paul Main is the inventor of the incredibly simple Day One journal. One way of recording your thoughts is to open the app whenever something happens and start typing. The entry created will be time, date and location sensitive. But if it's not convenient to stop and type, you can simply take a photo with your device and wait until later when the image metadata becomes invaluable to the app.
You add that photo to an entry, it immediately prompts you, would you like to change the entry to this photo's date and to this location? At that point, it will grab the weather. Up to 30 days back, it can grab the weather. From there, you can expand upon that event and start writing about who you were with and what you were doing, what you ate, things like that.
Everpix is another kind of record-keeping app with the ambitious goal of finding the meaning within your photographs. It sucks up your collection and repackages it, having analysed metadata and semantic information. Algorithms look at the pixels and try to work out what is actually happening in the picture. It then displays 1 or 2 great shots of each event that hopefully triggers more memories for the viewer, who can then start digging down in more detail.
Collections are massive, so there's like a lot of photos, and for like users, well, you know, they end up being like lost under an avalanche of data, which paradoxically becomes like a noise, because you take a lot, you want to remember a lot, you want to, you know, really like take with you a lot, and then, you know, in the photo software today, it's just noise, you lose it.
Despite the enormous upside of keeping metadata intact, there's also the flip side to consider. Loading photos onto your favourite social media website without stripping personal information out gives the host and potentially the world a whole new sense of who you are, where you are, and what you've been up to.
Ian Hardy, with more information than you could possibly handle. OK, next up, a look at this week's tech news.
US prosecutors have taken down a digital cash exchange they say was used by cybercriminals to launder around $6 billion. Costa Rica-based Liberty Reserve had essentially functioned as a black market bank and had allegedly processed 55 million transactions for its 1 million users. They were engaged in activities like credit card fraud, hacking and child pornography. Facebook has said it will review how it deals with controversial, harmful and hateful content after admitting current measures are ineffective. The admission follows sustained lobby group and media pressure after a spate of recent incidents, including videos of real-life beheadings being shared across the site. Meanwhile, social scrapbooking platform Pinterest now says it will allow nudity on its site, despite its previous efforts to come up with innovative ways to block it. The world's largest mining equipment firm has developed eye and face tracking technology to prevent accidents caused by fatigue. Caterpillar's DSS system uses a camera to detect a driver's pupil size, how frequently they blink, and how long they keep their eyes shut. It also tracks where the user's mouth is to work out when workers aren't looking at the road. Finally, this original Apple computer from 1976 has sold at a German auction for more than $650,000. The Apple I, consisting of just this motherboard, went to an anonymous buyer in Asia. It was one of the first 50 built by Apple co-founders Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak in Jobs' parents' garage, and it's one of only 6 still working.
Technology continues to worm its way into all of our lives, and not just in our hands and our homes, but into our cities and onto its structures too. So it's no surprise that in the global heartland of technology, San Francisco, it's found its way onto an iconic landmark. We sent Sumi Das to meet the high-tech artist who's been making the Bay Bridge even more spectacular.
Every day at dusk, the San Francisco Bay Bridge sparkles to life, and a mesmerizing array of LEDs dances across the bridge's suspension cables. Called the Bay Lights, this $8 million work of art celebrates the bridge's 75th birthday. Like many innovative projects in Silicon Valley, this LED sculpture, the world's largest, wouldn't exist were it not for technology. How do you augment an iconic landmark? Artist Leo Villarreal started with 25,000 lights.
This is intelligent lighting. I mean, there have been a lot of bridges that have been lit, but not with this sort of granularity, where you have 25,000 individually controllable points.
The outdoor-rated LEDs made by Philips are off the shelf, though it's doubtful many customers use them the way Villarreal has. From start to finish, the Bay Lights was a 2.5-year endeavor, filled with hurdles.
The physical challenges were, how do we install these LEDs? Where do we put the power supply that feeds power to them? How do we get data to them? Because they all have to receive data. And then we have, huge racks of, routers and all kinds of things you'd associate with the big, IT project, and not with an artwork.
At night, when traffic was lightest, workers laid 30 kilometers of power, fiber, and Cat5 cables and installed over 700 power and data boxes.
Lifeline needs to go out to the water and back in between the cables.
The main brain of the Bay Lights is secured in the bridge's beefy central anchorage. Even this seemingly basic plastic clip, which fastens the LEDs and cords to the bridge cable, is the result of high-tech workmanship. To design this part, entrepreneur Timothy Childs and his team embarked on 6 weeks of rapid prototyping using a MakerBot 3D printer.
The cool thing about working with 3D printing is we were able to do about 10 different iterations of just exact kind of shape of the channel to hold the wires in perfectly.
50,000 of these polycarbonate clips firmly attach the LEDs to the bridge. With the massive canvas in place, it was Leo Villarreal's turn to put technology to work.
Each LED light can be controlled individually and can be any of 255 levels of brightness. And then my challenge is to figure out what number to send the lights. Each light is expecting 1 byte, right? So it's 0 to 255. So I'm sending 25,000 bytes, at least 30 times a second across the bridge.
The end result is an epic display of glimmering patterns that will never repeat during the 2-year installation. Watch the Bay Lights and you'll see hints of rainfall, maybe the Matrix or stardust. What you won't see are the racks, routers, and software that made it all happen.
We've talked about the fact that these things can take pretty good photos and videos these days. In fact, if you have the time, you can get some really good results. We even made a half-decent movie on one of these things last year. But what happens if you want to video that special event and you only have one shot at it? Well, apparently the best thing to do is to get collaborative. LJ Rich has been finding out that there is safety in numbers.
If there's one thing social media has shown us, it's that we can be spectacularly self-obsessed, from mindless status updates to food worship. Sharing our world with the wider world is becoming second nature. But now it's moving beyond text and pictures. Twitter recently bought Vine, an app which simply offers 6-second snippets to share. It joins stalwarts like SocialCam and Vidi. And on the horizon, high-tech specs Google Glass readily captures your point of view and shares it online. Thing is, even these so-called social video services are captured from a single source, you, and most would struggle to meet any modicum of quality control. Well, say goodbye to your shoddy singular shot and bid hello to crowdsourced coverage. Viclone is a collaborative video app that automatically edits together footage from multiple mobiles in the same room at the same time. The app relies on location data, i.e. geotagging, timestamps and the audio tracks of the videos. It can synchronise up to 4 videos at a time to make a multi-angled edit of an event, especially handy at memorable occasions. Already available for Android and iOS, the app has recently been integrated into the Windows-powered Nokia 925. Streamweaver works in a similar way to give your videos multiple viewpoints, but instead plays the video in a split-screen format like a CCTV monitor. Hardly a Scorsese masterpiece, but great for discovering different perspectives.
But the last thing most people think about when recording video is the sound, until you play it back.
And if you're at a gig, good audio is crucial. Well, 45 Sound replaces rubbish audio from our mobiles with high-quality sound straight from the mixing desk at the concert, leaving us to concentrate on getting the best shot we can. And I got lucky.
Clearly, this is an incredible view. It's not generally available, though, unless you're the artist or the crew.
It's not bad, though. OK, maybe back here's a bit of a stretch. But it doesn't matter where you sit, because this app also mixes together footage from everyone in the room to create one overall mega crowdsourced concert video. Instead of geotags, though, the clips have to be directly uploaded to 45 Sound's site. And it's there the magic happens. The sound waves from your video's distorted audio is synced with the professional high-def track through a specifically designed algorithm. So bear in mind, recording at least some sound is vital.
Perhaps we're a little bit tired of the classic tripod shot and the jib moving over a festival and those kind of cliched camera shots that we're used to watching music from. I want to watch music exactly how the fans saw it.
It's not just the fans and company who get something out of it, though. Artists are encouraged to take part with the promise of a nicely edited, fan-made video of themselves.
You're getting the good sound that you would want, you know. Again, when people are putting your videos up, you want it to not only you have performed the best you can, but you want, you know, it's like everyone's like, oh, you should have been there, it sounded great, but it's got this crackly kind of grainy thing on the video. It's the whole interaction thing, because like things like Twitter, fans are becoming more interactive with the bands and the things that they, you know, they like, and to come along and get this involved and interactive is awesome, you know.
So you might feel like you're getting closer to the artist, but with many multi-sourced video apps, is sharing caring?
If you video a band at a gig and then you upload that content, I suppose there's lots of copyright questions then come up. Who owns the copyright in the video, for starters? In theory, you should own the copyright in the video as the person who recorded it. Having said that, when you upload it to a video site on the internet, it will depend on the terms and conditions of that site as to whether or not you're giving away the copyright in that video. Plus, of course, the T's and C's, the terms and conditions on the ticket that you bought to get you into the gig, may well also say something about the rights in the video.
But video sharing extends beyond the realm of entertainment into practical uses too. Imagine being able to find out what the queue's like at your favourite sandwich shop just before leaving the office, or whether there are parking spaces available outside your local supermarket. Kuzu is a San Francisco startup completely founded on smartphone video sharing. The idea is you'll have access to heaps of video footage showing you up-to-the-minute information about local services, or even just an insight into the state of your streets. Assuming the filmers have permission to film.
If a TV company goes out and videos and films, they get permission from everybody there to ensure that they're happy to be filmed. The average man on the street with their iPhone, they almost certainly aren't doing that.
Surely the many sources, one output model will only work with all these apps when enough people want to record video again and again to keep the startups in business. But if collaborative video does catch on, then we'll have more ways to capture, remix and share our cherished memories with more people than ever before.
LJ Rich. Now, back in April, we reported on Google Afterlife, which is the unofficial name given to Google's inactive account manager, which lets you bequeath your data to someone you trust. But what if you don't want your digital life to be over when your biological one comes to an end? It sounds morbid, but Kate Russell has an app for that too.
No one wants to think about death, but if it does come suddenly, would you be comforted by the chance to leave a final message for your loved ones? Do you think they would be comforted is probably more to the point? That's the premise behind ifidie.net, a Facebook app that lets you record a webcam message and assign trustees who would report your death to the app so your final thoughts can be posted post-mortem. Taking it one step further, Dead Social lets you schedule posts years into the future, uploading video or text so you can keep posting photos of your breakfast, or perhaps more appropriately, wishing your social media buddies happy birthday from well beyond the grave. seem a bit creepy, but I can see how it would be comforting to know you can leave some last words for your friends and loved ones. One afterlife app that goes beyond a good idea for me, though, is liveson.org. Its tagline is, "When your heart stops beating, you'll keep tweeting," and it claims it will analyse your tweets so it can keep on posting about stuff you like after you're gone. It's not actually up and running yet, but assuming they get it developed and approved in your lifetime, you can sign up for news on the site.
Starry, starry night.
If you look up into the sky at night and wonder what you're seeing, but don't have a smartphone running one of those fancy GPS stargazer apps to inform you, never fear. Art of Stars at nakshart.com is here.
Shadows on the hills.
This app uses your IP address, which is the unique identifier of your computer on the web, to draw a map in HTML5. So it really is using all of the technological bells and whistles to deliver a map of the stars over your head into your browser. The result is beautifully simple: a star chart in your browser.
This world was never meant for one as beautiful as you.
I don't know about you, but as soon as anyone points a camera at me, I get an overwhelming urge to blink. Windows Phone 8 owners can do away with badly timed shutter snapping with Blink, a free photo editing tool that takes a burst of frames so you can quickly choose which one is best.
As soon as I blink, you're playing around.
This app is great for capturing action shots too, like a dog leaping to catch a ball or your kids leaping into a swimming pool on holiday. Just point, shoot, and then pick the perfectly timed exposure to share. If you're more of a words person, this fun game also caught my eye this week for Windows Phone 7 and 8. What's the word? 4 pictures, 1 word. But can you guess what it is? It's a great little filler game on the train is what. Enjoy. It's back to school in the UK this week, so parents will no doubt be thinking about the next steps for their children's education. Schoolguide.co.uk brings key school statistics from official sources together in one place and is free to use, no subscription required. The colour-coded design makes it quick and easy to choose the best primary, secondary and independent schools to look at. And Wikipedia knows where you live. Well, it will if you allow it access to your location details anyway, and then it will helpfully serve up articles for whatever is close by with the new Nearby Search feature rolled out this week.
Kate Russell's Webscape. And if you'd like to pop along over to bbc.co.uk/click our website, you'll find all of Kate's links there if you missed them, along with lots of our previous content and up-to-date technology news too. Get in touch with us, email click@bbc.co.uk or do so through Facebook, Google+, or Twitter. That's it for now though, so thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.